appreciating each of you out here and all of the wonderful, amazing people on this stage. I have a question for all of you. Have you ever heard your mother say, "We need to talk"? And you know, whether or not it's that sweet, "Oh, honey, come sit down, let's have a conversation," or it's that very stern, "Have a seat because we need to talk." You know that at that moment, the rest of your life, the trajectory of your very existence hangs in the balance on the words of her decision. How many of you have ever had that feeling before? Well, take that feeling and multiply it by 1.2 million, because that's the number of moms with Moms Clean Air Force. And today I stand here with all of their love, all of their hopes, all of their fears, and we have a message to deliver. We're saying right now, Congress, your mothers are telling you we need to talk. We need to have a serious conversation about the utter failure of your agencies to support and strengthen regulations that protect the health of our children. Because to date, you've shown us 85 times that you're willing to reverse and roll back regulations that directly impact their well-being, and that's not acceptable. So we need to talk. We need to discuss the fact that while every mayor and governor and communities across this country are trying to prepare their cities for the impacts of climate, and while our children are protesting in the street and they're demanding climate action, somehow you allow somebody to sit in the White House and troll children instead of calling him to the carpet on accountability. We need to talk. I'm from Mississippi, so the way we say it is we need to have a come to Jesus meeting. And we need to talk about the black and brown communities, the poor, the vulnerable populations that sit on the fence line of air pollution and pay the cost of high energy and are being decimated by the extreme weather and climate to their neighborhoods. Places like the 5th Ward in Houston, Louisiana's Cancer Alley, communities in Pennsylvania, in Chicago, right around here in Washington, D.C., and in my home state of Mississippi, the Mississippi Delta, where we have seen tragic floods that come as a result of climate change. These are places where our children are suffering disproportionately, and they are impacted with asthma attacks and airborne diseases like Zika and Lyme disease. People, we need to talk. So we're doing that, and mothers are talking, and you're doing it now. We're doing it loudly. In recent months, our moms have testified before Congress, both here in Washington and in field hearings across this country, about things like the impact to mercury, to children's health. That's right, mercury. The one thing that we know, without a shadow of a doubt, impacts the development of babies' brains, and this administration wants to roll it back. We need to talk. And so whether or not we are in the halls of Congress, or if we are at our PTA, or if we are in town halls, or in our sorority groups, or functions, or even here at Fire Drill Fridays, we're determined to have this conversation. We're determined to support our children that we know are standing in the gap. Like 11-year-old Alton Dahl, who is missing movie and pajama day at school today. Where are you, Alton? I see you. Instead of going, he chose to put on his little blue and yellow coat, drag his mama out here to Fire Drill Friday, because even as a child, he knows we need to talk. Recently, during my local church service, I was reminded of something that I think is important, and I'll share it with you before I close. I was reminded that two of the most unsuspecting people in the world ushered in this season that some of us refer to as Christmas. It was two women, a 14-year-old girl and an older woman far beyond in her years of childbearing, both very unremarkable in the way that history reflects them. But they both made history simply because of their belief. And whether or not you share that belief, there is one thing that is a fact that even I am reminded of as I stand here and I look out at the crowds and I look at the amazing people who have dedicated their lives to this work. It is that we have such power when we believe the impossible. And that gives me hope. It gives me joy, and it brings me a fighting spirit, because it says to me that this little black girl that grew up in the Mississippi Delta can alter the direction of our future if I believe. And I I know that when I look out at you and the multitudes that are here together and the mothers across this country who have united, I know that nothing is impossible. So I say this, as my mother would say to me, we can do this one of two ways. We can sit like reasonable adults. We can encourage things like 100% clean energy for all, fairness, equity, getting off fossil fuels, or we can discuss this on Tuesday, November 3rd at 7 a.m. when voting booths are open across this country. Because either way, the voices of 1.2 million moms, dads, abuelas, tias, comadres, aunties, big mamas, and play cousins, we will all be there to make sure that our children are protected from the impacts of climate change, and I know I can depend on each and every one of you to stand along with us. Say it with me, people. It's time to talk.